Hello, everyone. Today we will be discussing the case of Athena Strand. Athena was a 7-year-old who went missing from her father's home in Paradise, Texas. It was soon found out that she was abducted by a FedEx driver. There was a Texas Ranger named Job Espinoza who saw a FedEx package at her home. I think it was brought to his attention by the stepmom, and he started trying to track that FedEx driver down and that truck, which led him to Tanner Horner. Now, that's probably the only time you're going to hear me say his name because I don't think anyone should say his name. He pled guilty. There was DNA evidence, there was video and audio evidence of what he did. Plus, there's a confession. So here we are, almost a month after this trial has started. On the first day of trial is when he changed his plea to guilty. And they immediately went into the sentencing phase of the trial to decide whether or not he would receive life without parole or the death penalty. This is James Staten. He is the Wise County District Attorney. And it's absolutely heartbreaking. In his opening arguments, one of the things he said that I just cannot get out of my mind is how this 7-year-old fought with the strength of 100 men. And hearing her mother talk about the little girl that she was, her testimony was absolutely heartbreaking. I don't think anyone in the world who watched that was not greatly affected. She was so strong and just did her baby so much justice in her testimony. She talked about how Athena loved big bows and pretty princess dresses, and how she also liked playing in the dirt and being outside with her dad. Like I said, we're almost a month into this case. His defense attorneys have tried to blame his upbringing and autism on what happened. I think they're thinking that those will be mitigating factors to spare his life. However, I will tell you that over the 20 years that I've been watching and following true crime and trials, I have never seen so many people say, I never believed in the death penalty until now. There are a lot of people who will shed no tears if this man is executed, and I believe he will be. There were some reporters who were inside the courtroom, local reporters, who listened and watched the video evidence. And they said that jurors were sobbing, audibly sobbing. Thank God Athena's family decided to leave the courtroom while that audio played and that video played. I can't imagine. I did hear the description from those reporters, and I just wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I would have not ever looked at that. I was actually moderating in a group that was watching that trial at the time on YouTube, and there was supposed to be a 10-minute break. Well, it had been an hour. So everyone's kind of thinking, like, did they just end court for the day and not tell anybody? Because that had happened before. So I was like, you know what, let me pop out and check one of the local stations and see if that's what happened. And instead, it was these reporters recounting what they had just heard and saw. And it definitely evoked feelings I've never felt before. It's absolutely heartbreaking. I know that when Maitland, who is Athena's mom, testified, they asked her if she had seen this video, heard this audio, and she said she tried and she might have made it 2 minutes at most, and she just couldn't do it. And just hearing the recount, I completely understand why. So this Monday, the defense is supposed to rest. They're expected to rest. Guys, I don't know what they could possibly bring at this point. I have tried to watch their case. And usually, I'm very interested in what defense has to say, and I appreciate the fact that we wouldn't have a justice system if it were not for defense attorneys. However, this one will infuriate you, especially if you are close to or love someone or know someone with autism. The way that they are trying to pin this on that, it's mind boggling. It's infuriating. Um, and, his rough upbringing. I know a lot of people, myself included, who did not have the best upbringing. And that's no excuse. What this little girl went through for an hour. And then the defendant in this case, the admitted monster, he led these cops on a wild goose chase. He took them to the wrong location. Promised that that's where he left her, like somebody abducted her after he left her or something. And then he had this alter ego, right? This zero guy, and his face would change and his voice would change when he was trying to portray this character that he made up. And what I really don't understand is the defense has put expert after expert, one of them saying that she's been paid $100,000 in this case so far. Um, and none of them, no one has diagnosed him with multiple personality disorder. One of the experts has said that people with autism do not have more of a perplexity for uh, um, violence, any more than anyone else. Um, they've all said that his autism is no excuse for this. It did not make him do this. They all do agree that he is autistic. Okay. Um, he has been pretty unemotional during this trial. He did seem a little, well, maybe he'd have a little emotion when his grandmother testified, which I don't know what in the world this defense was thinking putting her on the stand. Um, she apologized to the family during her testimony. She said that she was angry at the defendant for what he had done. She texted him a photo of Athena the day after she went missing before he had been arrested, saying, "Oh my gosh, there's this little girl missing, and I know that you're delivering in that area. Keep an eye out for her." And, he's pretty much like, "Will do." It's just sickening. And I will admit that I've not watched every moment of the defense's case. I did the prosecution's, but it's just hard to watch. It's hard to hear these excuses and just the ridiculousness. But what I have watched is every one of those experts have denied that autism played any part in this. These jurors have had their lives changed forever for what they've had to witness. Everyone in that courtroom, I don't think you could ever be the same after hearing what was done to this little girl. Um, her mom is an absolute rock star. I will try to link this in the comments. She has started a nonprofit in memory of her daughter where she hopes to help other families, help to have Athena's Law passed in other states. She's already had that passed in Texas. She is a warrior, and her little girl was just like her by all accounts. I mean, you can just tell. So I am going to end it with that. I will be doing an update after the deliberations. I'm not sure that that'll start on Monday or Tuesday. I don't know how long this defense is going to go or what they could possibly want to, or who they would want to put on the stand next. It's all been ridiculous. But I'll do an update when that comes back. I'm telling you, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I really feel like this will be the quickest deliberation in a death penalty case in the history of death penalty cases. That's just my 2 cents. Guys, thanks for watching. I'd love to see you like and subscribe so that eventually I can get enough to go live and do these things live. If you've watched this far, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.